What a real shocking story you know of. Mari Gilbert refused to let police ignore her daughter's disappearance, and it led them to a serial killer. Mari Gilbert became an advocate for murder victims after her daughter Shannan's disappearance led to the discovery of the Gilgo Beach Murders. Then Mari was killed herself by her other daughter Sarra. When Mari Gilbert's daughter, Shannan Gilbert, vanished in May 2010, the grieving mother spent more than a year pressuring police to take her disappearance seriously. She had no idea that her perseverance would lead to the arrest of a suspected serial killer. While investigating Shannan's case, authorities came across the bodies of 10 other people, many of whom were sex workers, buried on the south shore of Long Island. And in December 2011, Shannan's body was discovered in a marsh nearby. Gilbert soon became an outspoken murder victims advocate, especially for sex workers. She claimed their cases weren't taken seriously because of their occupation, and she wanted to change that. Tragically, Gilbert was stabbed to death by her other daughter, Sarra Gilbert, in July 2016. In a shocking turn of events, the murder victims advocate became a murder victim herself. The disappearance of Shannan Gilbert. In the early morning hours of May 1, 2010, 23-year-old Shannan Gilbert called 911 in a panic. She was working as an escort at the time, and she had been at a client's house in Oak Beach on Long Island for several hours. While on the phone with dispatchers, Shannan was seen running down the street, knocking on doors and shouting for help. However, the police didn't arrive for nearly an hour. By then, Shannan was nowhere to be found. Despite the suspicious circumstances, detectives dragged their feet during the investigation. Shannan's mother, Mari Gilbert, claimed that authorities weren't treating her daughter's disappearance with urgency because she was a sex worker. "I think they look at them like they're throwaway," Gilbert told the New York Times in 2011. "They don't care." Gilbert spent the next 18 months putting more and more pressure on police to find out what had happened to her daughter. In the end, this persistence paid off with the discovery of Shannan's body in December 2011, but it uncovered an even bigger mystery too. How Mari Gilbert helped find the Long Island serial killer. In December 2010, police were searching an area near where Shannan Gilbert had vanished with a cadaver dog when the K-9 alerted on something. It was a body, but it wasn't Shannan's. Detectives soon discovered the corpses of 4 women, all buried within half a mile of each other near Gilgo Beach. All of them were sex workers who had used Craigslist to find clients. They'd vanished between 2007 and 2010, and all 4 are believed to have been victims of the Long Island serial killer. Police continued to search the area, and by April 2011, they discovered 6 more bodies along the south shore of Long Island. At least 3 of them were also sex workers. The other 3, who remain unidentified, were a mother, her toddler, and an Asian male. In December 2011, authorities found Shannan Gilbert's body in a marsh near Oak Beach, about 9 miles from the other bodies. However, they claimed that she hadn't been killed, but instead had accidentally drowned. Mari Gilbert immediately challenged this theory and had an independent autopsy performed, which showed that Shannan may have been strangled to death. "It's time for the police department to wise up," said the Gilbert family's attorney, John Ray, as reported by CNN in 2016. "It's time now for the police department to do the job that they have failed to do up until now and to investigate the death of Shannan Gilbert as a murder." Mari Gilbert was determined to spend the rest of her life seeking justice for her daughter, but her efforts were tragically cut short in 2016. The brutal murder of Mari Gilbert. While Mari Gilbert was busy working to figure out what exactly had happened to Shannan, she was juggling problems with one of her other daughters, 27-year-old Sarra Gilbert, as well. Sarra suffered from schizophrenia, and when she drowned her pet dog in front of her 8-year-old son in February 2016, Mari took custody of the boy, according to a 2016 article in the Middletown Times Herald Record. On July 23, 2016, Sarra reportedly started hearing voices and called her mother for help. Mari raced to Sarra's apartment in Ellenville, New York. Mari loved her daughter, Ray told CNN. She went to her death, knowing when she was going to that house that she was in danger. When Mari arrived, Sarra stabbed her 227 times with a 15-inch kitchen knife. She then bashed her in the head with a fire extinguisher and sprayed foam from the device into her mouth. Sarra also reportedly tried to cut off Mari's head because she thought she was a bad god and a devil. Sarra pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, but she was ultimately sentenced to 25 years to life in prison for Mari Gilbert's death. The legacy of Mari Gilbert. Although Mari Gilbert's life was cut short at age 52, her legacy as a murder victim's advocate lives on. She never gave up on finding out what had really happened to her daughter Shannan. She was not perfect, Mari said about Shannan in 2011, but she was loved and she was cared for. She does not deserve to be forgotten. Mari Gilbert also found comfort in the fact that the pressure she put on police helped uncover the bodies of 10 other victims, hopefully bringing closure to their families. Mari understood that one way of finding at least a shred of meaning in the loss of her daughter was that her disappearance led to the discovery of those 4 women several months later, and that without Shannan there would be no case, there would be no search for the killer, said Robert Coker, the author of a book that delved into the Gilgo Beach Murders, to CBS News in 2023. In July 2023, a Long Island man named Rex Hoyerman was arrested and charged with the murders of 3 of the women found on Gilgo Beach in December 2010. And in January 2024, he was charged in connection with the 4th woman's death as well. He is currently awaiting trial. Without the persistence of Mari Gilbert, however, those 4 women, and the 6 other victims who were uncovered alongside them, may still be buried in the sand, and their families may still be wondering where they are. According to Coker, Mari reminded people that there were real human beings at stake here, that this wasn't just a Hannibal Lecter movie. She was not a perfect person, continued Coker, and she was a confrontational person. But in her final years, she became the caregiver for another sick daughter of hers. He had grown as a person and really found a way to keep living despite such terrible loss. Today, Mari Gilbert's daughter Cher runs the Facebook page Praying for Shannan Maria Gilbert, which Mari started years ago to gather information about her daughter's case and form a support system for others who have lost loved ones. Mari's story also lives on in the 2020 thriller Lost Girls, a fictionalized account of the bereaved mother's dedicated hunt for her daughter and the discovery of the Gilgo Beach murder victims.